every single day that you were gone, you and your little friends, you tried to tear down what I was building here. I'm done being used.
Make sure he hoards all that money so he can give it to all the new ex-WWE guys he keeps bringing in. Hey, boss! Would you treat me better if I was an ex-WWE guy?
This is about the undisputed elite and Bullet Club.
It doesn't matter how elite you are.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jeff, and today we're going to discuss about multiple topics in wrestling. We're going to start with CM Punk's injury, the edict to remove MJF from AEW commercials and promotions, Judgment Day's newest member, and also the Hell in a Cell match between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. So let's start with CM Punk's injury. On last week's AEW Rampage, newly crowned AEW World Champion CM Punk announced he has to take some time away so he can undergo a surgery from an injury that wasn't specified. Punk said he's willing to relinquish the title, but Tony Khan didn't want him to. However, AEW will crown an interim world champion. On this week's AEW Dynamite, a Battle Royal will open the show and the winner will face Top Rank and former AEW World Champion Jon Moxley in the main event. The winner of that match will face either NJPW stars Hiroshi Tanahashi or Hiroki Goto on June 26 at the AEW and NJPW event Forbidden Door in Chicago. In this match, they will crown the interim AEW World Champion. Now, first of all, it doesn't make sense for AEW to crown an interim World Champion if we are still going to acknowledge CM Punk as the real champion. Also, I think they have to get rid of the ranking system. Why do they need to hold a battle royal where they can just have the top 5 wrestlers compete in a 5-way match to secure a spot in the Forbidden Door? The ranking system is just a mess that they use to avoid the need to create compelling storylines to build up matches. Once the ranking system does not suit the narrative they want to show, they will rely on casino battle royals and eliminator tournaments. Now let's talk about MJF. PW Insider reported that according to a source at Warner Bros. Discovery, an edict was issued last week to remove MJF from all the AEW commercials and promotional spots. Wow. This can go either way. Either Tony Khan was able to convince the network to be all in this storyline to make it look as real as possible. It is also possible that it's a decision solely by the network and MJF could be possibly be done with AEW. If this is actually real, then this might be the end for MJF unless he gets a call from WWE. In my opinion, once he's a free agent, WWE should offer him a contract. MJF may not be the most impressive wrestler when it comes to competing in the ring, but his mic skills alone can get fans emotionally invested. That's how good he is when it comes to cutting promos. Now, let's move our topics towards WWE. Judgment Day's newest member on this week's WWE Raw. Judgment Day welcomed a new member in the form of Finn Balor. During the segment, Damian Priest said that it's time to get rid of the one who is holding them back, and referred to their founder and leader Edge. Finn, Rhea Ripley, and Damian attacked Edge, and this made Edge turn into a babyface. So I saw some tweets saying that WWE felt they need to have Edge turn babyface while Cody Rhodes is recovering from his injury. I don't think it is necessary for him to turn babyface. They already have Riddle challenging the top guy and the biggest heel in the company, the current reigning undisputed WWE Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, for the championship. They also have AJ Styles, who is a former world champion. Also, since the brand split is coming to an end, they can have Drew McIntyre come to Raw. I just think it was way too soon for them to turn on Edge, but it's interesting where the storyline will go. Now, for the final topic in this episode, we're going to talk about Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins inside Hell in a Cell. WWE announced that during a brawl with Seth Rollins on Raw, Cody Rhodes suffered a partially torn right pectoral tendon. And during a weight training, Cody Rhodes had his tendon completely torn off the bone. Now, during their Hell in a Cell match, the injury became a target for Seth Rollins throughout the bout. However, despite Cody's injury, Seth was still unsuccessful in gaining a victory from the American Nightmare. Cody used a sledgehammer before going for the pin. This makes Cody have 3-0 victory over Seth Rollins in their current rivalry. Now, what is next for Seth Rollins? Yes, they were able to give an instant classic of a match, but from the past year, Seth hasn't won any major singles rivalry. He lost to Cesaro, he lost to Edge, he was unsuccessful in winning the WWE Championship at Day 1, and he did not win the Universal Championship from Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. Because of these losses, his character is losing its credibility. A talent in the caliber of Seth Rollins should right now be back in the main event picture. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to this podcast. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JeffNB_. We can discuss wrestling over there. And I'll talk to you next week.